Hi, we're going to start.
That's my phone.
Welcome. It's midterm. So I asked the sophomores in Cultural Foundations 3 to help me make a list on the board of the concepts we've seen developed across the texts we've read this semester so far: Bolaño, Borges, Calvino, Kafka, Benjamin, Baudelaire. And my student Emma's hand shoots up first try and she says, the dialectic between the present and the past. And I was like, damn, these fuckers don't pay me enough for how good a job I do. Because yes, that's what we've talked about so much. And what we've discovered is that the past is gone, more than gone, a howling void. So gone, in fact, that it eats away at the present, nips at it, denudes it, blows through it like a violent wind. And it makes me think that the class should read some Alex Dimitrov, in whose poems lately the forceful nothing of the past is ever present, to the point of needing to be pushed back and resisted almost line by line. And yet the poems aren't heavy for this, just fascinated with their own apparent, imminent undoing by the power of what's lost. You could read these lines in any order, Alex writes in Some New Thing, because I want to leave nothing out anymore, and there's nothing here. He can't stop flirting with this thought, and I mean flirting. It's erotic to be transparent, forgetful, aching with what's to become of moments, even if they appear to be in ready supply. He lives in New York. It's midterm, which is another way of saying it's already all about to be over. Anything you're going to learn, you better learn tonight. Please welcome Alex Dimitrov.
That's an interesting introduction. I've never gotten. Thank you. Hi, everybody. How are you? Hi, Carlos. We met in Philadelphia a few weeks ago, if you remember. I just brought my phone, trying to be a little more minimal. Happy to be here. I'm really happy to be here, to be invited to read the Poetry Project. And I'm going to read new poems, maybe a little bit from the book, maybe not, I don't know yet. I'm happy that Matt referenced a new poem in his introduction, because I've been writing a lot of new poems and they're a little bit different, so I'm still sort of feeling them out loud. Out of some other paradise. And people walked out of churches and bars, cafes and apartments, cities, towns, photographs, someone's Friday night party, someone they once knew or slept with. They walked out of meetings and dinners, out of lives, on each other, on love, and never on time. Some walked out of dark places, slow places, strange places, places they wouldn't go back to, places they never did find. Then walked out for good until the third, fourth, fifth time, perhaps. People walked out through doors and through letters, through looks across rooms, gifts that gave nothing of what they withheld, what they couldn't give back. Then others just walked out on everything. That was that. What can be said about what we do to each other? What street, I don't remember, on the way to someone's going away, I saw you, as if in the middle of a sentence. Snow, your new evening clothes. So quiet in here. It's nice. I'm used to reading in bars where you kind of can't hear yourself think. The past remembers you differently. And just as I said that. I returned with a new way to think about you. On another page, Whitman described what it feels like to die. The day loosened its intentions. Even these recent errors. The lights on the street almost speaking. The terrible more than anyone wants. And where is that page from a past that can't see you? What wouldn't we want death to know about us? Today, he wants to know where to put all the old things. He wants to know about signs. If you once signed your name here, no one now sees it. I swallowed some parts of the evening, then left and went looking, and looking is where I can follow the plot. The kids of those years ran all through the fires. They were here, they were young, they were all in their faces, their small frames. That's us. I want to run through my life without asking for anything. I want to run through my life until I am a word. This is the 19th line of the poem. I am waiting for you to look at me. Sun bleaches the paper. Time slides through the flesh. Someone on the corner is imprinting the building with an old kind of humanity just by touching it. We are often in mirrors and small in this suffering. This is never enough. And of course, I'm still here waiting for you to look at me, to bring me the dead leaves at the bottom of the river, in the mud of the madhouse, and the light that breaks open the casket, stitch it over my eyes. I was reading a little bit of Freud this summer because my very good friend, Rachel, who's an academic, really despises Freud. We always get into these arguments, but one can't really have an argument about Freud unless you've read Freud. And so I thought it was time to read Freud. And I didn't have a great time, but I had a good enough time to keep going. And he sort of found his way into some of the poems. Seduction and its immediate consequences. This poem is really about sex. One April in autumn, you were my story for hours. The silence of those days became like a shirt. His screaming fits were nothing other than attempts at seduction, writes Freud in The Wolfman. How many accounts for how many things, and what did we own? In the movie of their lives, there were people they saw like notes in the margins, and in the vials a bright mess they carried inside. Michael, Michael, Michael. If a name is said enough times in a poem, something will happen. But that isn't your name, and it isn't a city, so where do you live? Winter taught me to wear a very thin nothing those evenings. When the cars sped through the tunnel, when a cemetery filled with the living, when the drink was named for what they couldn't quite taste. And you didn't decide on the friends or the lovers, the shoes or the card that was sent and said, come. It's a party for all of our questions. And why shouldn't we have it? Why not invite what no one can have? Immediately, he could tell, even in the middle of the water. Soon it will all end without warning or lights. And between the acts where we live, after a while you're wearing too much, no matter what you take off. But you, filling the room with smoke, trying hard to be human. I love you, and it's cinema just to keep looking. Listen, I would say in my messages, on a page or a screen, through a window. I follow you home, but it's a very brief night. This next one is called New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Paris. It's a terrible title, but all four cities are in there, and there will be a better title. But maybe it's not so terrible. I wrote it in Los Angeles this past summer. I was visiting a friend of mine, and everyone told me that I would hate Los Angeles because living here, well, this is the best place in the world. But I loved Los Angeles because it was so plastic and fake. Here's where we soften the world with more wine. Driving on Mulholland with you when no one knew where we were. The gentleman in the novel grew into your life. One day, without warning, you felt like him too. Drawing the shades up, leaving the house with your hair wet. After they met, she saw him in bed saying very few things. As they got older, just as they knew, they wanted to be very few things. I'm disappointed my parents aren't happy together, he said. The three of us at 20 were close to the same age, and no one wore a jacket wherever we went, and no one wanted anything for more than a day. The lady I buy seltzer from says she loves me in an imperfect English. Then I paid more money to visit you than was coming my way. We're all going to get it, and soon that's what's coming. In the Bastille, on Sunset, late and blurry in Dolores Park, it has nothing to do with us, the lives of others, and that's just untrue. She asked if wealth is enough to redeem someone. But none of this runs on logic, and it's not Voltaire either. At some point you wake up and want to throw it away, or in someone's way, and which way got you here, do you know? It's years in, or it's yours. What do you do to replace your lovers? Life question, life view. Mid-October, second floor, overlooking Houston Street and the 2nd Avenue train stop. This delay is temporary. That's what someone says over a speaker. I would follow you into that temporary, and you know it's true. A boy pulls at the green handlebars. He's bad at the obstacles. From my desk, I watch him learn how to look when he falls, if there's someone watching, and when he thinks no one is. You know, we all know that boy, and who do you imagine lives here, he said, as we kept driving into the canyons, in the hills, far from the water, back again. They had to drive away from what could be theirs, and what likely, it's nighttime here and day where you are, was not, would not be. I just noticed this was a draft, and it was an interesting experience to read it, because I've taken one line out. You guys are so quiet. Hello. I'm just going to take that as you being intense. Oh, hey, in the back.
It's past our bedtime.
What's what?
It's past our bedtime.
Oh, yeah? You should stay up. Why not?
Makes us quiet.
Okay. Yeah, it's nice. Quiet's nice. We never get it right. This is called Always. All of my poems seem to be about men, but they're really about women. You should know that. We're good at feeling what we shouldn't feel. On the ferry to the island, I burned alone that way. At least, he thought, there'll be an earth to sink in. The last scenes in Shakespeare, I forget to breathe. When history caught up with us, no less cruel than our parents. Wanted to tell you about the psychic witch who found my life with one eye, though we weren't speaking then, and here, you're dead. I've put a period to end each thought that won't end. Come into my house, they were, and talk to me about another life. The park is true and in perpetual August. Yes, I'm late and going back there. These small hopes, traces, spit on the sidewalk. I'm an adult and feel less urgent every day. No one's number matters, but the voices anchor in the coolness at the bottom of a memory, or how people stop to watch the moon together. Finally, knowing you, I know I cannot know you. This body's terrible at your religion. And why eternal life if pleasure's time-bound and each new year's a digging? He said, the dead are one long summer. Walking, going nowhere, and some punctuation in an emailed note reminds me who I am more so than what I've written. I would pause for you and be a million commas, the way a flock of birds will leave a tree, not just the sound or lifting. That's where I want to put my hands inside you. And I found it on the train, inside small pools, passing mountains near the city dust, between the ribs or where the dusk waits. I gave my life a real nice show. And then you went away so I could see you as graffiti in a bar just once. A man is stepping on the moon. The earth where your one life is gone. The phone rings and you're leaving. Let your black hair get in my way, always. Here's the floor. Just gonna take a look at you like you're looking at me. So serious. Okay. This is called Bloodless. All day the trees touch each other blindly. When I pass, they don't know I'm going away. How would you describe the way a person enters a room they must burn in or swim through? It's a rumor that anyone lives. The things that are things, I threw them in boxes. The things that are mine, I threw them in you. So he walked from the park, from the past to the party. You thought the flowers would like to die with the music on low. I thought, let some of it live. Let there be people inside there. Turns out, just cocktails and language. Another part of the evening. A wind on the river across. If buzzer is broken, please call. If stuck, do not push or pull. He kept pushing until he was no longer him or you with him. It's a rumor that anyone gets out, in fact. Once we saw each other and stayed in different rooms like two different countries. All night I wore your favorite color by mistake. On the street, voices. We have a lot of time left. All night he looked at me, you said to our friend. Someone they didn't know spoke loudly and happy. All the time, all my life, mostly it's been misleading. And your own life, while it's happening, never has any atmosphere until it's a memory. To who? Warhol said that, not Proust. Little remains, but it's all here and they've come to give it to you. What part to write down in order to tell nothing? Texts, emails, no sleep, and some ink, although bloodless, marks where you were and they've been. This was left at the end of the night. This here. This is what no one wanted to say. Okay, I'm just gonna read one more. Nights with people, days without. How could I describe the ending to you? The streets on the way out were wet. Floors, bed, walls. Impossible not to press against something. Who called? Who cares? I had a drink by myself at the bar. A long skirt on the avenue reminded you of your mother. The scent in the car took him back to a place where he left something black. Every morning is a little different, isn't it? nights with people, days without. So they woke up and wanted nothing so close to them, nothing next to whatever was there. Me, I had another drink by myself at the bar. I don't think we deserve anything for our suffering, but I have this old self, and it's wanting things, things. Isn't it funny, he said. No, I can't tell you, so put your mouth here or leave. A season, another, no subject with your email, and why language, where we're all mostly helpless, maybe a place to give in and give up on being a person, being a person, being a person. With that, the student asked how he should end his poem. What would help? He asked twice. Me again. I had a few more drinks by myself at the bar. And I'm sorry I'll never write back, but I'm telling you here in front of no one and everyone. Be your own fantasy. Me, back to me. I came home to a freezing apartment. Doors, windows, books open. Characters, all of us, everywhere. I took off my clothes and I was a person in a cold room with a dead light, a subject with no subject line. Thanks so much.